Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. I hope you guys are ready for your Tex Grebner Outdoors Saturday Morning Cartoon Awesomeness because it's Illinois Archery Season 2018. I also hope that you guys will continue to support the channel with TexGrebnerOutdoors.com merchandise. I really appreciate all of you that have bought shirts and stickers and are out there making it weird and supporting the channel. Also, if you guys want to get a discount on Three Rivers Archery products, Tex Grebner is the discount code, but you can get the exact discount code for your traditional archery supplies for threeriversarchery.com down in the description below to make sure that you put it in there right, because let's face it, as we all know, if things aren't going great in the season, we tend to fixate on our gear because it's really the only part of deer hunting that we actually have any real control over. Now, I've been living real life this week. It's the middle of the night, putting the finishing touches on this week's episode, and I admit I'm slap happy as hell. And before we even get into this, it's not been a very good week. But you're going to have to wait and see how it turns out, because hunting is a visceral mystery, and you never know what's going to happen on a hunt.
Even if I go to bed plenty early, I never sleep worth a shit before a morning hunt. I don't know if anybody else does this, but I find myself laying awake, staring at my ceiling, half awake, envisioning what might happen on the next day's hunt until I finally drift off into a fitful sleep filled with a phantasmagoria of bucks walking by my stand in the darkness. But I did manage to actually drag my ass out of bed well before dawn so that I could get to my stand in the darkness. And I was hunting across the property line that I no longer had access to, across the creek. Hopefully the deer would be feeding in the field in the darkness, and they would come out of the field to visit my food plot at this stand, or come into the briar patches to bed down. But with hunting, you never really know what a deer's gonna do. And on Tex Grebner Outdoors, the one thing that you can count on is shit ain't gonna go right. Sitting in the beautiful, misty verdantness of the woods here, I found myself thinking about the chances that I hadn't taken and the chances that I'd blown, and wondering if I'd blown all my chances early on in the season. It still smarts me that I missed that doe, a shot that I should have been able to make drunken with the flu. And of course, the buck that I didn't take a shot at because the cameras weren't both rolling. Everybody looks forward to hunting the rut, because that's when the deer move a lot and they get generally pretty stupid. But if the rut comes and goes and you still don't have a deer, then you start to get real worried. But I admit, I'm damned excited with the rut coming up. Speaking of the rut, I haven't seen any rubs around the property on the saplings, but I did manage to find a couple of scrapes near my stands, so that's good news. Of course, speaking of things not going right, because it's Tex Grebner Outdoors and I'm 100% me, the trail cameras that I got involved with are not working very well because they are prototypes. And so I'm pretty much hunting blind and old school. What's going to be funny is I'm probably going to bust one of those bastards out at my stand across the creek when I leave. Serve me right. It was a beautiful fall day, perfect late October weather with the rut coming up. So naturally, because it was decent weather, I didn't get to hunt very much because I spent most of my day in the auger wagon tractor, and I didn't have high hopes for this hunt because after I finished up with chores, there was probably about an hour's worth of daylight left, and I'd passed about 20 deer, I shit you not, 20 deer in the cornfields as I drove out to this property. But I had the chance, I had the daylight, and I figured that, you know, what the hell? I'm going hunting. I'm going to go climb up and sit in my tree and not see shit. Of course, just about dark, I almost had a heart attack because I saw a flash of white out the corner of my eye down in the food plot, and a rustle of leaves reached my ears. Now, of course, it was a rabbit. And the little bastard was safe too, because rabbit season doesn't start till mid-November. I spent most of last night staring at my ceiling fan until the wee hours of the morning, daydreaming about whitetail hunting when I should have been asleep so that I could wake up in the morning to go whitetail hunting. But of course that didn't happen. And because it was a beautiful fall day, I spent the day helping my grandpa get the corn harvest in still. Then, once I was relieved from that by the other hired hands, I did the chores and made my way to my stand across the creek. And I wasn't very hopeful because I'd seen so many deer on my drive out to the property out in the fields that I figured that they were already on the move. But there was the chance that the capriciousness of the gods of the hunt might place a deer under my stand to meet me before I crawled into it, as tends to happen. Of course, I also, once in my stand, stared longingly at the cornfield across the property line that I no longer had access to hunt, staring through the underbrush into the field, just hoping for some deer movement, so that I could do some long-range scouting that maybe the laws of randomness, once the rut hit, might bring a buck chasing a doe onto this property. I've spent years watching these deer, trying to zero in on their movements. But deer are wild and free, majestic creatures, and in spite of our best efforts to predict them, you can only make a wild animal do what it already wants to do, because it is majestic and free, and such is the joy of hunting them. Now, I have high fence hunted before, and I will probably high fence hunt again, but it is a different kind of experience than the completely uncontrollable variables of free-range hunting. This is such a forlorn hope of a hunt. I've got about an hour and a half of daylight if I'm lucky. But to hell with it, I'm going to give it a try. It was a cold gray day. The wind was calm and out of the right direction, so after I'd spent the day bringing in the harvest and got done with chores, I figured what the hell, might as well go hunting. At this point, I don't know what to say. There's so little of this hunting season that I actually have control of, and it ends up being a high-stakes game of whack-a-mole at the end of the day, being in the right stand at the right time and wondering if I've patterned the deer right. Of course, I had camera issues with my camera remotes that weren't wanting to behave, so I spent the first 10 minutes of my sit in the tree trying to dick with that, because Tex Grebner Outdoors manual says that ain't shit gonna go right. Of course, none of it actually mattered, because while I'd seen about 20 deer in the neighbors' fields on my way to drive out to my stand, I didn't see a damn thing but a squirrel and a rabbit. And that's just the reality of hunting on small plots of private land. I didn't even see anything moving around across the property line out in the cornfield. So I'm just kind of hoping for the rut. And maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to break the whitetail curse. You bastards.
I live in real life just like the rest of you, in spite of the fact that it is dangerous, or at least too much of my awesomeness, all at once. Of course, the reason that I say that it's dangerous, or at least too much of my awesomeness all at once, is because that's just the excuse that I give for breaking shit and screwing things up beyond all repair. But life ain't like the pornos, and hunting ain't like the TV shows. It is a high-stakes game of whack-a-mole, and these animals are wily, and I am not. In spite of the fact that it seems that Wile E. Coyote is my spirit animal, because nothing ever goes according to plan. But I bring you the reality of my Illinois archery season. And my unflinching honesty is one of my only redeeming qualities. So I hope you guys will keep watching. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please get my friends over at threeriversarchery.com. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those of you serving in the military. And thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.